Hi everyone, welcome to our new video and podcast series, Ahead of the Game. It's Joel and Andy. Hi Andy.
Hi Joel, you okay?
I'm ready. Are you ready?
Excellent. Just about, I think, our brand new video series / podcast series, or pod, I believe.
With
podcast.
new intro music.
I genuinely haven't heard this, okay.
Oh. I thought you'd be all about that.
For anyone listening, Joel and I aren't up to anything romantic, those noises there. That was just noise of appreciation of our intro music. Do you know why I love that so much?
Go, hit me.
No, I want you to guess.
Oh, it's going to be a series, a TV series. It's going to upset
Almost.
you.
It could be a film.
Before my birthday or something.
Film. Seminal film. Early 70s.
Italian Job.
Was that 70s? Could have been. Dirty Harry. That I can't remember. Off the top of my head, I can't remember the composer of the Dirty Harry theme. But that is awesome, Joel. And my wife's just started calling. Brilliant.
Sorry, Emma. Not now. Not now, Emma. We need to tell people what Ahead of the Game is about.
Okay, go.
So, it's a business head-to-head. Me and you talking about mindset, business issues. Could be marketing, but generally that kind of anything that you might encounter in business. Obviously, you and I both owned various businesses over the last 10 years and longer and encountered loads of problems, and we think we've got a lot to share about it.
Absolutely. We put out loads of free content. We've got videos, we've got emails, we've got funnels, we've got PDF cheat sheets, generally talking about making the most of your marketing. But obviously, you could have the best knowledge in the world. You've got to implement it. But if the mindset ain't there, if the confidence ain't there, if the support networks you have around you ain't there, you're going to be ice skating uphill.
Yeah, pushing custard up a hill with a fork.
Ice skating with one skate against the wind.
I just remember, is it Blade in Blade 2?
Oh, yes.
Some motherfucker's always trying to ice skate uphill.
Wesley Snipes, always bet on black.
Right. Wow. Wow.
Passenger 57.
Yeah, no more film quotes. Right.
No, okay, yeah.
Okay, so today's episode, we're going to be talking about celebrating your wins. So something I know I'm particularly bad at in terms of I have high expectations of myself and therefore don't necessarily celebrate when I do something well. But if something bad happens, even if it's not really a big deal, it can really have a profound impact on me.
It isn't the mountain in the way, it's the pebble in your shoe. I think that's Muhammad Ali, and it's a quote sort of like that. But I think, yeah, absolutely. There's so much to celebrate in business. To be honest, lasting more than a year in business is worth celebrating. But there are so many of these little day-to-day things that are part and parcel of being a business owner that can sort of grind you down, especially if you're not aware of them.
Yeah.
And can detract from celebrating the real successes, the fact that you've probably done more in business than most people ever would. But sometimes, until people actually point that out to you, you just view those as just, well, that's what I wanted to do and I've done it. It's not a massive achievement in your own mind.
Yeah.
Whereas to some people it's like, wow, that's fucking amazing you did that.
What is it? 70% of businesses don't make it past the first year or something. So
I mean, that's I mean, if you think about it, how many businesses we've seen come and go, massive names on the local level, but then, going into Woolworths every day and then suddenly, oh no, that's gone. All the ones in trouble now. Is Travelodge just taken a CVA or something?
Have they?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they have.
That's brutal, because that's surely purely COVID related. They must have been all right before then.
It's. I mean, obviously, when something bad happens, pandemics, recessions, whatever, there's generally some industries that are affected more than others. But then I remember when the recession, obviously the property sector was especially hard hit. And estate agents, naturally, were especially hard hit. Yet some estate agents, they thrived. They did well, and they're still here today. So what did they do differently that other guys didn't? And we know that COVID has caused or helped push some marketing agencies off the cliff. And touch wood, we're still here. But we know we did the 18-hour days during lockdown. What we would have been prepared to do to carry on paying to run our own marketing, I don't think lots of marketing agents would have been prepared to have done what we've done. And to be honest, we haven't even celebrated that. The fact that we're still here, with the same team after lockdown.
So what do you think that is about a business owner? Because we know lots of business owners, and we know that I would say 90% of the business owners I know are not very good at celebrating their wins, either for PR purposes, or purely because they need to remember to take a step back and take stock of what they've achieved. But I'd say most business owners are bad at that.
I think being British has a lot to do with it. That whole sort of ethos that of humility, that it's very un-British to celebrate success, because, well, we've seen this directly recently, that if you're celebrating success, that might upset someone who's having a hard time. I mean, literally, we saw that on LinkedIn, and it's like, oh, fuck off. If someone has worked hard and ethically to achieve something in business, they should shout about it for the rooftops and well done. Now, if you've done something unethical to achieve success, then that's a different kettle of fish. But we know some people invested literally their life savings. They've leveraged their house. They've taken a massive risk to achieve something great. And if they succeed, then hats off to them, and they should celebrate it. But there is that thing that, it's not very British, and there are people in my industry who are struggling, so they might get wound up if I celebrate it too much. And I guess, like most things, it comes back to education. Always learning.
Yeah, I found that even at school, and I think this would be the same for a lot of people, that it's not the people that are doing well that get attention, it's the people that are struggling that get attention.
I would say that's fair. No, that's probably a reason why some parents move their children. There are some parents that move their kids from school to school to school, because little Johnny's not getting the time he deserves. And I think sometimes, if there are really, really clever people in the class and maybe really, really troublesome kids in the class, those two ends can get attention. And I think often it's the kids in the middle and towards the lower end that get neglected, and maybe that's massive potential loss, because if that's not grown, encouraged, and nurtured early on, we know it has a long lasting effect.
And I guess thinking outside the box at that age isn't encouraged either. Not really. So,
well, you think what we've learned in business that we can transfer to life, those kind of skills that just aren't taught at school. You're not taught about well, not the schools I went to, about life, about entrepreneurship. I was never brought up once that even considered to run your own business.
No.
Right, here's some shitty test. Right, Mr. Rao, you're going to be a journalist, or you're going to be a doctor, or you're going to...
But please stay in education as long as you can.
Yeah, and I look at the people I look up to now, who are pretty much all business owners, and God, they all left school at 16. I think in Richard Branson's book, Like a Virgin, he said his old headmaster said to him, "You're either going to be a millionaire or you're going to end up in prison."
Yeah. There's an example of an entrepreneur who clearly celebrates his successes. It annoys people.
Oh, totally.
But he understands not just the importance of mindset. I think that's something he's very well spoken on, but also the importance of demonstrating that you're celebrating your success.
Yeah, I mean, there's no one better at PR than Richard Branson, and some of the creative stunts he's come up with, built on the back of his own success, have been fantastic. And Richard Branson, just especially at the moment, very polarizing. But then show me an entrepreneur or a visionary who isn't polarizing.
As soon as you put someone on a pedestal, they're there to have shots fired at them. There you go.
You've been waiting to do that, haven't you?
You said something pretty hardcore before, and I thought I'd press it, but I missed the moment. So.
Oh, go on.
I think you said they can fuck off.
We've had many good places in business, but we've had a couple of challenges over the years that have been pretty dark. We've had one recently, and I don't mean COVID, but we've never, that's never stopped us celebrating someone else's success. That even when the shit's hit the fan, if I see another business owner who I know has worked hard to achieve something, I'll be the first to stand up and pat him or her on the back.
Yeah, it's very true. I mean, there's
misery? Sorry, what's the phrase? Misery likes company or something?
Yeah. I mean, there's business people that I don't necessarily get on with, who I've seen achieve unbelievable things, and you just take a bow. You take a step back from it and you think, wow, there's a couple of people that I don't want to mention them on the podcast, but they spring to mind, that what they've done and the risks they've taken and just the level of ambition to do what they do. And then when you ask them about it, they're so humble about it because that's what they expect of themselves. And
well, we talk about icebergs a lot. We use that as an analogy. Social media especially, the tip of the iceberg is what someone sees on a Facebook page, but all the real work, the Facebook ads, is done beneath the waterline. But also, being a business owner is like an iceberg. People who aren't business owners, they see, they might see things like tax breaks or always on the golf course on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Or what they don't see, like you mentioned, is the sacrifice, financial and otherwise, that's gone into getting them there.
The sleepless nights,
yeah.
the years of earning less than you would in a normal job with a view to the future.
Yeah.
The problems that you have to manage in your own life as well as other people's lives whilst trying to manage the business. That just life throws a lot of shit at you when you're a business owner.
That's another reason to celebrate it. I mean, I don't know. I can't remember who said this quote now, but I get the Week magazine every week, funnily enough, and they've always got a quote section, like Wit and Wisdom or something it's called. And there was one last week, and I'll have to dig it out, but it was comparing America and Britain, and it basically said, in America, if your neighbour has a Rolls Royce, you wish you had one. In the UK, if your neighbour has a Rolls Royce, you hope it catches fire. And obviously, huge generalisation, but I think it's true that sometimes in Britain it does feel like we shouldn't really, it's not very done to shout about your success.
Yeah, the whole whooping and hollering that you see in American sports. I mean, it's in UK sport a bit more now than it was, but it wasn't the done thing to celebrate your wins and your successes. And in American sports, in UK sport, if you score a try in rugby or you score a goal in football or a throw in judo, you might celebrate that moment. In American sports, they celebrate all the individual bits in between, the passes, the steals, the tackles, whatever it might be, the blocks.
And I have no idea what you're talking about.
That's what they do.
Okay. It's just like, American rugby.
So American football, basketball, they celebrate the plays. They don't just celebrate when they score. They celebrate all of the moments that build up to that. So if someone gains yards in American football, chances are they'll celebrate at the end of that.
That's interesting. I mean, without getting into a cultural debate, I think sport can really play a part in what we're talking about. In America, I've got family in America, and from a very young age, sport is an important part of the curriculum. For, whether it's wrestling, American football, basketball, whatever it might be. Whereas in the UK, I remember when we were looking for a secondary school for Maddie, considering options. One of the schools we went to, they basically did 1 hour's fitness a week. I was like, oh my God. It's like, really? When I was at school, it was like 1 hour a day, every day. Yeah. Wow. Oh God, is this another sob story about going to school in Church Stretton?
No, not at all. I just can't. I think in primary school we did an hour's activity a day.
I obviously won't name the school, but it was about and obviously Maddie at a previous school, doing gymnastics and stuff and PE. But it's like 1 hour a week, and it's like it could be more, but it does depend on which teachers are available. So that's the caveat. So it might not always be 1 week, but it's like, well, that's not a very good baseline. And sport, I think in America does seem to be encouraged more, which obviously brings in competition and the will to succeed and to beat who you're playing against. Whereas I don't see that so much in education here, where obviously we celebrate everyone who takes part, and that's true. And I know we're going to be heading on to sort of rocky waters here, but
I'm going to say something. I've got something loaded.
Oh, right. Excellent. I'm just trying to think which way it's going to go. If you win a race, brilliant. If you come last in the race, well done for taking part, but you still came last. Now you'll probably come first at something else. You're probably a chess whiz or something.
Exactly that. So I listen to the Gary Vee podcast a lot. And on the podcast I was listening to in the car this morning, he said, we've got to stop giving medals away for coming 7th.
like Simon Sinek, is it pronounced? He talks about this a lot, doesn't he?
He said it's bullshit. Just because you're not good at that doesn't mean you won't be good at something else.
And you will be good at something else.
And you also need to learn failure. It's a really important thing to learn failure, because particularly if you want to be a business owner, you'll have 10 ideas and 9 of them will fail. So if you can't get used to failure, if you think people are going to reward failure, you're in trouble. And to go really controversial on this, we've seen some business owners saying that about the government's backup with coronavirus, haven't we? That it rewards failure. And we don't agree on that, in terms of, I don't necessarily think it does reward failure. But if you're saying to someone, furlough these people and we'll pay for them, what are you encouraging? And some business owners would argue, okay, absolutely on a social level we should support the businesses that can't look after those staff at the moment. But what are we doing to support the businesses that are still going strong through this? What are we doing to make sure that we can pick up the pieces on the other side of this? And that's something throughout culture, school, secondary school, college, university. You're always trying to make the people coming last feel better, not the people coming first feel good.
That's it, yeah. Absolutely. And it's hard because the person who, the wheezy kid who does come last in the 100 metres, he or she will
the wheezy kid.
Will I was going to say something else. Will be good at something. Everyone's got to.
Is that you at school chasing the asthmatic kids with a stick?
I was first. No, I wasn't. I was not built for speed. But I suppose, because I'm so old, when I was at school, it wasn't celebrated coming last. You were encouraged to come,
What was your event? What was your event on sports day?
I was pretty good at sort of mid-distance. I didn't have the speed for the sprints, but then I can't think of anything worse than running round and round and round a track at that point. But strange enough, I'm actually enjoying running now. So like 400 metres,
okay.
that was good for me. High jump, long jump. Obviously, I'm like
high jump.
I'm saying high jump and long jump. No, because I'm like 2'6". So no, surprisingly,
you didn't disturb the bar. So
and I would say I was very good at cricket as well, but that could be an Indian thing. But I did enjoy cricket, and my dad was mad at cricket, obviously, so that probably helped that he played cricket with me from a young age, whereas he never did the 100 metres with me. So there were sports, but there were also sports that, I was not good at all, and I was aware of that, and it didn't scar me for life, and I didn't expect a reward, but that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But I totally agree with you that you can't encourage that it's okay to sometimes you have to fail and you have to learn, you have to bounce back, and you have to be resilient. And I did a video yesterday about the importance of persistence in life as well as in business, in marketing. I talked about J.K. Rowling getting knocked back by however many literary agents, or Colonel Sanders, aged 507, knocking on doors trying to flog his secret tasty chicken recipe, but no one was interested. But he carried on and carried on, and some people do. They do quit too early, and they don't, and the world loses out because you don't know what that person could have gone on to achieve.
Yeah, I think that's very true. There's some people that quit too early, but then I'd argue that they'd probably maybe never would have been cut out for it if it had taken off. They'd have found it very difficult to get the head around sometimes what it takes to execute. But something that's come up with what we're talking about is obviously most business owners are very competitive. You and I are very competitive people, to the point where when we're discussing things, sometimes it can get heated because we believe in what we're saying.
Yeah. And stubborn. I think every business owner, competitors. My two daughters, they are 13 and 10, had to think about that for a minute. I know which one would make the more successful business owner, because she's got that streak in her that won't give up. Whereas the other one, as many talents as she have, if she can't get hold of something, can't grasp something quickly, she'll give up and move on to something else. Whereas the other one, right, I'm not going to let this beat me. I will figure it out.
Yeah.
And so I guess it's psychology again. We come back to childhood again. That has to play a part. Maybe biology, but also the environment you grew up in. That's that stubbornness, that willingness to do whatever it takes ethically, ideally. to achieve your goals, and then to celebrate those goals, then on to the next one.
See, that's the bit, isn't it? You've got to celebrate them. Otherwise, what's the point? What are you doing it for? And I think, I'm ultra competitive. My wife won't let me play board games because...
Yes, Monica.
Yeah, literally, Monica. So there's no point playing board games in our house because if I don't win, I'll ask to play again until I do, because essentially got something slightly wrong with me. is the reality. And you just keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing, but there's no joy in the win. You just hate losing. And you need to teach yourself to find joy in the wins. It's such an important thing for a business owner's mental health to go home and almost, I go home to my wife sometimes and we've achieved some amazing things at Codebreak. And, how was work today? I was all right, thanks. What's for dinner?
Yeah.
And she literally had to drag it out of me. No, what happened at work today? Well, we won a new client. What do you mean you won a new client? Well, yeah, they do this, this and this all across the world. Well, bloody hell, that's amazing. I was like, well, yeah, all in a day's work.
Yeah, I'll be talking to you on the phone if I'm at home or something, and Emma afterwards go, "Oh, who's that client you're talking about?" And I'll tell her. She go, "Oh God, I didn't know you'd won them. When was that?" And I said, "Well, I guess Emma and I talk about a lot of work stuff. Obviously, she's very involved in one of our companies, but yeah, I guess I don't know, sort of move on to the next thing. It's brilliant to land a client, and as we're discussing today, what's always been important to us is that clients come ahead of prospects anyway. So, which is why we're so ruthless with our time, because that is time we could be spending helping our paying clients, rather than getting messed about or getting drawn into
stuck in the chase.
Yeah, price battles, all that kind of bollocks. So we want to use our time productively and help people do some good stuff.
Yeah.
And so clients are important. So once we've won a client, right, what could we do to really, really skyrocket their business? The win's almost well, it's secondary to seeing that new win do well.
Yeah.
For them to turn around in 3 months' time saying, bloody hell, Andy, Joel, my business is like doubled in size since you guys have been
That's how I've
with
got
us.
my head around it, is I don't think I'll ever find the joy in winning the client. I get off on it initially. There's a bit of joy to it, but the real joy is celebrating winning with the client. And I love that. And we've had a few examples recently where we've sent gifts to clients to say well done, or we've met up with clients on Zoom or whatever it might be to just, really give them a pat on the back. But there's loads of joy in that as a business owner to say, with our help, you've achieved this and we're delighted for you.
Well, you know what? That's probably why we're marketers and not salespeople.
Yeah.
Because, I've got friends with salespeople, not many. But yeah, that's what they want. They celebrate the win, get the win, and then it's on to the next win. Whereas once we've got a win, right, let's help them be winners. And like you say, yes, celebrate together, and that's so important. But keep coming back that pebble in your shoe. In business, there will always be something.
What's yours at the moment? I know what it is.
Oh yeah, it sounds a bit. That's the thing. It sounds so bloody stupid when you come out and say it, but it's the little things in the office. It's coming in and find that not all the blinds have been opened. Whereas, no, if people drive onto our business park, I don't want them seeing a half-shut office. I want them to know that Codebreak is open for business.
Yeah.
There we are, 8 a.m, blinds open, people walking about, whatever it might be. If they walk past, they hear one of my awesome 80s playlists, and they know we're doing some good stuff.
Or now they see the whole crew kitted out in their merch.
Oh, I love the merch. You turn to the camera, can they see that? Stay hungry. It's and it's hard. A little. My brother, who's a teacher, so never worked in the private sector. He'd be like, "Why are you getting wound up about some blinds not being fully open?" And it's an argument or a debate. You just never win because he wouldn't understand, and I wouldn't understand his point of view.
No.
But when you've got, then you get a letter from, HMRC and all those little things that you think, oh God, what do they want now?
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny because my wife doesn't understand it. She's very empathetic about it. She just doesn't understand it. So when COVID hit, and obviously our business took a big hit, there's no two ways about it. It didn't impact me like the little things do. I didn't like it, and I was trying to think my way out of it, and just ready to fight to survive. But a big problem is much easier to deal with than a small problem.
Yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely. When you look back at it, I mean, obviously at the time it was hugely stressful, but of course it was hugely stressful for everyone. And if you've got older people or people in the shielding list in your family, then that's the main thing. But yeah, well, our business took a big hit. Right, that's happened. How do we deal with it? And yeah, in hindsight, that has been easier to deal with compared to those little pebbles in your shoe. And to be honest, I like working from home, and I got to spend more time with the children, got to spend more time with my wife, and with that freedom came more time to have some creative space. And let's face it, we've had some awesome business ideas during lockdown that we are now implementing successfully. And right, let's take away the good stuff. There's enough shit that happened in lockdown. What are the positives we can take away and to help our business and to help our employees, to help the Codebreak guys?
Yeah, definitely. And I've noticed without doubt we've actively both made more of an effort to thank each other for some of the stuff we do, and it goes a long way. And thank the guys for the stuff they do too. You just start to realise just what people are doing, and I think the team respect how much ground we covered in that period as well. That okay, well, we're going to have to change how our business operates forever, and we've done it for you. It's done. It's ready.
Yeah, absolutely. That's good about having a team that's on board, and that maybe one or some of them will go out to be their own bosses one day. They see the hard stuff we have to put up with, but hopefully they see the good stuff as well. My dad had a lot of shit in business, and I remember as a kid turning to him and saying, like, Dad, why'd you put yourself through this? Surely it must be easy just to turn up, do your job, and get a paycheck. So my dad was a doctor running his own GP's practices. Just work at the hospital, turn up, do your job. It's going to be stressful enough anyway, I appreciate, and get paid every month. And he said to me, I can even picture where he was sat in the lounge, and he said, despite everything, there's nothing like being your own boss, because I have freedom and flexibility. If I don't want to work Tuesday, I might work on a Saturday. But not having someone tell you what to do, he said, you can't put a price on that.
Yeah.
Which is obviously great for us, because I hate being told what to do.
I'd not noticed. So, do you remember the problem we had when we first got this new kit? How do we edge our way towards adverts?
Oh, yes, okay, yeah.
So, do you remember how people build into adverts now?
Vaguely.
I don't.
Okay.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to the pod. Joel here at Codebreak. Don't forget to subscribe on your favourite platform. We love talking to you, and we hope you're enjoying listening. And we're back.
Man, are you going to show me what to do with these buttons?
I'm going to have to, because you've asked twice now and I feel bad.
Excellent, yeah, because it looks like almost like the bridge of the Enterprise, the original series. Lots of different coloured buttons.
I don't know what that means.
Not Next Generation, the original series.
I can change the colours of these buttons.
Can you? Do you have to unscrew and put a new bulb in?
Funnily enough, no.
That does look cool. What is it? Rodecaster Pro. I'm sure other desks are available. What is it? Mixing desk? No, recording desk?
It's like a preamp, so it collects all the sound, processes it, takes all the nasties out, and then we can also drop in mobile phone calls and sound effects. And
will it make me sound like George Clooney?
Probably not.
All right, okay. It does. It looks cool, and that's half the thing.
Have you heard last week's podcast, the first one out off this?
No, but I've seen someone's comment on social saying about how awesome it sounded.
It's like listening to syrup.
Really? Is that a good thing?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
Like
treacle, that's bad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. No, yeah. I will, because I do listen to most of our podcasts, but it's awesome. So we've got to let the team have a play, though, surely. Has anyone else recorded on it yet?
No.
You're not going to let anyone touch it, are you?
I want them to. Evie knows how to use it. Emily knows how to use it.
Evie's going to be running this business soon.
I'm recording a podcast tomorrow on it again, but that'll be the first one with people dialing in remotely.
Oh, cool. Excellent.
So
pods, videos, it's little things like this. I mean, I remember talking to a client, well, probably a month or so before lockdown, and I was desperately trying to get her to do video, and I was telling her how to do it, and you only need a phone, you don't need loads of gear and stuff. But she couldn't do it. Now, she'd be awesome in front of the camera. She has lots of interesting insights and information to share. And I just had to be blunt. I said, if you're not using video in your marketing, you'll get left behind. But she just couldn't do it. And so a win for some people is literally doing this. It's being filmed. You know, no script, no re-editing and 57 different takes doing this can be an achievement for some. And I know if my client can get in front of the camera, and I'm still working with her on it, we're gonna celebrate that win.
Oh, hugely. I mean, I'll be entirely honest with you. I'm way more comfortable in this sort of head-to-head podcast environment than I am when I'm speaking directly to camera. I can do it. I've done 80 or so videos doing exactly that. But almost having a little bit of technology around me and a few buttons to press is like my little shield. And
so many people, I think so many public speakers have, obviously the clicker, it's there to take you to your next PowerPoint slide, but it's also like a tool.
Like a comfort blanket.
Yeah.
And for me, from my mindset, this is great because I'm sat here now thinking, well, none of our competitors are going to have a setup as good as us, and they'd have to invest significantly to have it, and power to them if they do. So I'm really, really confident that our podcasts and our video production is always going to sound amazing. But also, it's something for me to get my teeth into. As a business owner, very often you're delegating and you're on to the next thing, or you're writing a proposal, or you're fighting fires, and the wins are hard to see because they're not for you. Maybe your team are celebrating the win, someone got promoted, brilliant. Or maybe your client's celebrating a win, but you're, right, okay, so I won that client, so how do I win the next one, and what went wrong there, and how do I do this? And for me, something like this is like, right, okay, this is my comfort zone. Every week or twice a week as it stands, I can come in and record a really, really solid podcast. I know people are listening to it, we're getting good feedback, and I'm starting to find the joy in it, and it's really important, I think, as any business owner, to find those things that you, like for you, I think running has done that recently.
Oh, love it. I mean, very rarely, as a business owner, you get to switch off. I realised, because the only regret my dad had towards the end of his life was not, like most people of his generation, was not spending enough time with his kids, with myself and my brother. And so I always made a concept of, like, when I become a dad, I'm going to spend so much time with my kids, and I have done. But one of the things that lockdown has taught me is that I've spent lots of time with the kids, but have I spent quality time? And when I think about it, a lot of that time I've been on my phone sorting something out, I've been managing someone's social media or sending an email and stuff. It's like, no, that was, I guess, another pebble in the shoe. Yeah. And I've changed my attitude towards that now. And so for me, that's properly switching off. And the only other time I can really do that is running. And like I say, I hated running at school, or certainly long distances. But I wanted to support Emma doing her couch to 5K. And to be honest, didn't want her running around the roads at 6 a.m. on her own anyway. So I started doing it, and obviously apps, brilliant. You do a little bit. And, now I've run my first half marathon, and it's great. And so after I did the half marathon, and I enjoyed it, and I celebrated it. I think that's an achievement. But then before you know it, it's like back to work and stuff. And it's strange. But I'm proud of that. And if you think about business, what we've achieved, maybe it's why so many people now are doing what I used to think was just hippy dippy shit, but they write down 5 things they're grateful for at the beginning of the day, or 5 things they achieved at the end of the day, but writing down the positives so that anchors them into the right state of mind.
Yeah, affirmations are good for me.
Okay.
That's something I've learned. I thought it was...
Is that Daniel Bryan?
No, Daniel Bryan does do affirmations, though, doesn't he? Obviously, very obvious.
Is he back wrestling now?
Yeah, he is, yeah. I never really thought of it like that, but yeah. I thought it was all bollocks. I was like, my mind is my mind, my mind's set. And it's not true. It's very fluid. And actually, if you remember to remind yourself the journey you're on and what you're trying to achieve and who you're helping and what's important in your life every day, it's for me, that's worked wonders. That's a really important, particularly through things like lockdown. Yeah,
I think. I mean, it was almost a bit sort of embarrassing. Something sort of like weird therapists did, like affirmations, meditation, what, and now like everyone's got the Calm app or Headspace app on their phone and stuff. And I've got the Calm. I haven't done it for a while, but there's a very stressful period in business where I download the Calm app, and every day I do it. But now I suppose I've got running. But having that sort of meditation, contemplative time is important. And I think, there will be business people out there that knock that. But when the successful entrepreneurs you look up to are doing something, then you can't really dismiss it, at least consider it.
Yeah, and these things won't work for everyone. But if they work for you, there's no shame in that. at all. And I think if you're a competitive mindset, like a business owner, very often anything where you need to repair something or take stock or rest something feels like failure. Like, why can't I do this at 100 mile an hour all the time? And actually, a better way to look at it is to think like an athlete, who is really important that an athlete does their stretching before they do their workout, then they do their workout, then they do their post-workout, then they do their nutrition, then they do their recovery. And actually, all of those things amount to tomorrow's workout being a better workout. But it's not just the workout. And that's something I found very difficult as a business owner, is if you've got only a finite amount of time in the day to do things, what are you doing to make sure you're getting better? What are you doing to make sure you're looking after yourself? What are you doing to make sure you're celebrating your wins? What are you doing to make sure you're addressing your problems?
Yeah, I think it's the perennial problem for so many business owners, especially at the SME level. They keep getting dragged into the business. And some people, it's their own fault. They're control freaks, which I suppose every business owner is, but they don't acknowledge it. So if they don't acknowledge it, they can't do anything about it. And they're there essentially being a technician in their business. If you're a baker, but you open up your own bakery, but you're still there every day baking the bread, well, you might as well just, like the debate I had with my dad all those years ago, you might as well just been a baker employed by someone else and save yourself all the ball ache of being a business owner. And you want to be working on the business and growing it, because otherwise, by the time you have fought all the fires, you probably haven't got any wins to celebrate because you've just been pulled into the shit so much.
Yeah, I think that's it, isn't it? It's that element of separation. That might be from the business slightly, or it might be from getting caught up in your own workload. It could be reading, could be a business coach, could be running, could be lifting heavy things up and putting them back down again, which is one of mine.
Oh, gym's back open. Is it this Saturday?
Is it?
25th. When's that?
Yeah, so a week on.
Oh, okay, yeah, 25th. Can't wait.
Yeah, I've hated training without weights.
Yeah, I mean, it's all very well saying, well, just use a couple of 2-litre bottles of milk or something. It's like, well, yeah, it's not really
Hard not to drink the milk.
Well, yeah, it's not really the same as a kettlebell, is it? So yeah, that's something to look forward to. That'd be great. But yeah, I mean, exercise. That's a good one. That's definitely a commonality in my business mentors, that they all look after their physical health as well as their mental health. And well, I guess the two go hand in hand. I'm especially good in the running community. I mean, wow, there's a lot of support for. There's clearly a lot of people with mental health issues who are runners.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
And a lot of people with addiction or a history of addiction as well. I suppose they've replaced one addiction for a bad addiction for a healthier addiction. And yeah, it's just all this stuff, which is, well, I suppose why we want to do this new video podcast series, is that all the content we put out about marketing and business. Right, well, let's talk about headspace, about attitude, about mindset, about positivity, confidence, the stuff that you need, as well as the business knowledge
and our own experiences. I mean, we haven't gone into too much depth today, but over the coming weeks, I'm sure we'll both share some stories that will surprise people and also give you a more rounded view on what motivates us, what makes us tick, why we don't want that for our families, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. What we've done to make it work, which, like any advice, take it or leave it, and it won't be right for everyone. But there's stuff we've learned the hard way, there's stuff we learned the easy way. It does get easier because we're more open to learning. At the beginning, I didn't read anything. I didn't listen to anything. Not new at all, but I was so busy growing the business and just dismissive of anything that was anything remotely to do with mental health or mindset. Just again, thought it was a load of bollocks.
Then you met me.
Yeah, I met you. It's all your fault. But I said you've got to listen. Well, you're like, well, hang on. He's really successful. She's really successful. He's really successful, and they all do this thing. Well, it might be worth me actually considering doing that thing as well. Then. Yeah. And it won't always be right. But it's like, well, okay, you've got what's Stephen Covey's book? There's seven habits of highly effective people or something, where he looks at the commonalities between these successful business people, and it's just so true. I mean, no way would you have caught me meditating a few years ago. What a load of codswallop.
Yeah, It's interesting, isn't
I
it?
try to think of another word to bollocks, you see. I'm aware I've said bollocks a lot.
Yeah, it's a bollocksy podcast.
I'm going to get told off by my mum again now.
Sorry.
Yeah, I told you she WhatsApped me after my last video
Did she?
to tell me. Oh no, my last Facebook Live, she WhatsApped me to tell me off about my language.
She's right.
That's
you tell a word yourself.
That's confidence building.
There you go. Like, you talked about some really good stuff on that Facebook Live, but stop swearing.
Stop swearing, Timothy.
So I still haven't got this down to an art, but how do we get into the ads?
Oh, you're asking the wrong person there.
Right. Hey everyone, Joel at Codebreak. Don't forget, we offer a consultancy service, so if you're struggling with your business mindset, your marketing mindset, getting those sales through the door, don't hesitate to hop onto codebreak.co.uk and book a discovery call with us. We'd love to talk to you. That almost sounded like I knew what I was doing.
Could I record one of those then?
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Don't say bollocks.
Never.
Just don't say bollocks.
No, this is cool. I mean, I'm so glad we invested in this. I mean, one of Emma's first bosses, his famous phrase was, "Do it now, you won't have to do it later." And I think in business, there's always an excuse. It's like, oh, I think we should get all this podcast gear. But it's like, well, it's money, and post lockdown, we should probably invest that money. Just fucking do it. JFDI, yeah. Just effing do it. And obviously you can't just like spend, but we have to look at it as an investment. Yeah. And okay, we've recorded another video recently about that, haven't we? About we can't be a marketing agency that tells everyone they must invest in their marketing. And then someone says, what do you spend your marketing then? Oh, nothing, word of mouth. All right, that does me.
If you're going to be all meta and introvert, what wins are you celebrating at the moment? See? It's hard.
Trying to think.
It's hard.
Suddenly I thought, right, business.
If I said to you, if I said what's annoying you at the moment, you could reel off 5 things.
Oh, bloody washing up.
If I said what are our wins at the moment, you have to think. That's not right, is it?
And we've won some big clients. I've run some speedy times. I've got a wife who still hopefully loves me, and we're very happy together.
She hasn't seen your new hair yet. Not face to face.
My children, who sort of respect me, I think. So Holly was in the lounge this morning. I was going upstairs. I noticed her bedroom light was still on. Not just like LED lights, a strip of LED lights around the room. So I was like, shouted out, "Holly, your bedroom lights are on." She went, "Yep." And I assumed she meant, "Yep, I'm coming to turn them off." No, she was just acknowledging me that she'd heard me. So had my shower, came out. Yeah, her lights were still on. And I thought, right, okay. So I've got a little bit of respect for my children, but not as much as I want. So I'll do something about that.
So that's why you're upset about the washing up in the office. It's Holly's fault. Anyway, you've twisted. I've asked you what are our 5 biggest wins.
And 5? Oh, I didn't know that.
And you got to about 2 and then went back to your negative. So I think we're making our own point here.
Okay, 5 big wins. I think getting this podcast series, there we go. That's one, because we've been talking about it for a while. Massive proposal that's come in. Okay, that's great. Client who's earning 10 quid for every pound they spend with us. That's blimey. That's all. In fact, when I was at the barber's this morning for the first time in 7 years, he was talking to me about marketing, and he was just asking a few questions, not too knowledgeable about marketing, but through his own admission. And he said and he was talking about TikTok. Oh, that's the place to be, isn't it? I was like, And we had an interesting debate about that. Didn't know about India banning it and Reels launching in India. Anyway, and he was asking about Facebook ads, asking about all this sort of stuff that we do, and he didn't really understand why you'd spend this money, why you wouldn't rely on word of mouth. And he was like, well, you can't prove that it works, can you? I was like, well, okay, we've got a client, and I can absolutely prove that for every £10 they give us, every £1 they give us, we give them £10 back. And he was gobsmacked. I went into some detail about how we do that, about conversion ads and tracking and stuff. And he was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
But, it's not often you can sit someone down and talk to them about how conversion tracking works.
No.
But some people aren't interested at all.
But you can show them their bank account.
It's a quick way of it. Like, even, again, my brother, who's not in business and never has been, never will be, say, right, okay, give me £1, I'll give you £10 back. When will you stop giving me £1? Well, I bloody won't. In fact, I'll give you £2. I'll give you £5, whatever I can afford. And not that it can always be like in marketing, obviously. And to be honest, that might not even be the goal of your marketing. It might be to look cooler because you're sick of your competitors looking better than you.
Yeah.
But to be able to say, well, okay, well, this is what I can do, and your return on investment. I mean, that's a win that I suppose we don't really celebrate.
Not enough.
I don't think we took the team out, or although we did get pizzas in, didn't we? And that was after how many weeks of strict veganism.
I'm having pizza tonight.
Oh yeah.
Just saying.
Oh, from where?
Just a homemade pizza at a friend's house.
Oh, but your wife's Italian.
She's not making it. She's not even invited. Can you believe that?
Oh, controversial. Why is that then?
Boys' night.
Oh, right. So it's not like another couple invited you but don't like Hannah.
Oh, no. If anyone's not getting invited in our house, it's me.
Don't invite the miserable one.
Don't invite Joel. He might start talking about work.
Conversion tracking.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you, for every £1 you give me.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Is that what
Okay.
I sound like?
Boys' night. No, not at all. Boys' night. Bloody hell. I haven't done that for like decades. Is that even allowed now?
Well, there's been a lockdown, so I guess, yeah, get away with a bit at the moment.
So you're just going to sit, like four of you sit in a corner of a room?
Sit in his garden and eat pizza by the sounds.
Cooking pizza or by getting it in?
Oh, he's going to have pizza ready when I get there.
Oh, right, okay. Proper pizza oven?
I doubt it.
Emma's obsessed with them at the moment. And of course, now she's getting stalked by all these different
Oh, right,
ads.
really? So you're going to lose your barbecue and get an uni?
Well, yeah, well, it literally does it in like 60 seconds.
The one of those metal ones with the pellets in
Yeah.
the back. Evie had pizza on that last night.
Oh, did she? Okay. But my wife was just like, literally, she's on first name terms with all the delivery drivers through lockdown. She's just been, and it's quite funny actually talking to the delivery drivers. They're like, there's all these people, they're all furloughed at home, they're all spending.
Yeah.
It's like, see, the delivery drivers knows what's going to happen to the economy.
Yeah, economically it doesn't add up, does it?
But yeah,
Amazon are having a great time.
Oh, so obviously Jeff Bezos lost between a quarter and half, so that's the third, I suppose, of his income went through his divorce.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's back. He's now above pre-divorce levels. Now.
So
171 billion.
He gave $100 million to COVID-based charities in America. Was one of the things he gave. And some of the cynical people on the internet were like, well, that's less than the interest he's made on the money that Amazon have grown by in the period of lockdown. And my retort to that is, yeah, well, he still didn't have to give it.
No. I mean, like Bill Gates. Like I saw something on Facebook the other day. Bill Gates has come under fire like he usually does, and it's just listed the about the 50 billion or whatever he's donated and done stuff. And it always reminds me of I talk about this a lot. The Felix Dennis book, How to Get Rich, and the motto is you don't want to be rich because you earn a certain amount of money. And
Everybody
wants
a piece of the pie.
Everyone wants a piece of the pie. And he basically ended up, well, I think he blew a load on sort of basically prostitutes and drugs. But he just ended up on a beach, yeah, actually it doesn't, silly man. And he just ended up on a beach, painting and reading and writing poetry. And he said it's the happiest he's ever been. Really good book, that is. Really good book.
I can understand that. And I mean, so we mentioned Wesley Snipes earlier, in jest. But,
Pasture 57.
But obviously there was a spell where all the tax avoidance scams going on in America were being clamped down on. And they basically found the richest, most successful person they could that was part of the scheme and hammered them. And that's what happened to Wesley Snipes.
I forgot he did.
They stuck him in jail for ages and took all his money off him. But there was loads of people that had done what he did, but they made an example of him because he was already on a pedestal. And
how long does he do?
well, long enough that he's not making Blade films anymore.
What's he, Expendables 3?
Yeah, I think that was his comeback, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in anything since then, if I'm honest.
Did he do any good films?
Blade 2, White Men Can't Jump, Demolition Man.
Oh, Demolition Man, there we go. God, Demolition Man.
I've got nothing else.
White Men Can't Jump, that was being filmed when I was in Los Angeles. 92, something like that.
Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson.
Good film.
Yeah, not really into basketball stuff so much. I know you are massively. Maybe again, it's to do with my lack of height. I used to hate playing basketball at school.
Really?
But yeah.
So you haven't watched The Last Dance then?
No, not yet. That would be a hard sell for Emma. Emma and I, we got loads of mutual loves of film and TV series and stuff, but that one would be.
So there's an example of a man who couldn't find wins. Most successful basketball player of all time, probably. I'd say he probably still is.
Still alive, is he?
Michael Jordan, yeah. Yeah.
Who's the one who's died? Helicopter crash.
Kobe Bryant.
Oh, right, okay.
So he found he didn't find joy in the win, he found joy in the battle. Right. So he would someone tied their shoelaces funny or looked at him funny when he came on court or like gave him a bit of banter to try and put him off, he would make it a personal battle to prove to them how much better he was than everyone. And he pretty much did that every game throughout his career.
When did he retire then?
For the first time, I think was like 95.
Oh, don't say he was one of these ones that came back and was shit.
He went to play baseball. Do you know?
No?
Jordan quit basketball to go play baseball when his father died. His dad was murdered.
Oh shit! Right.
So he quit basketball to go play baseball because that was his childhood dream. Turns out he's actually pretty good at baseball.
Right.
But the Bulls wanted him back. Came back, won the championship again with the Bulls, retired again, and then in his 40s came back to play for the Washington Wizards.
Basketball.
Yeah.
He's not still playing.
No.
So how did that third comeback do?
His points average was great. Still clearly a brilliant basketball player, but he didn't spend as much time on court as he did earlier in his career because he couldn't.
It's hard as sports people. So many just, well, they oh God, see Muhammad Ali at the
Don't
end.
know when to quit.
I mean, that was just.
Do you think that's money, or do you think that
No.
the mental fire's still there, but the physical fire's gone out?
Yeah, absolutely. The need to win, and obviously, going in front of an audience of 100,000 people cheering your name must be quite addictive. But the win, the challenge. You imagine, like you devote every waking hour of your life to do something, and then one day you retire or have to retire. Oh my God. I mean, I bet, I think obviously ex-sports people have a lot of, not all of them, but I bet a lot of them have issues.
So something I was going to bring up is that...
Not about Wesley Snipes again, was it?
No.
Okay.
But I think there'll be sports people who wouldn't know that they've got mental health issues because all of their energy is put into sport, and then you take the sport away and their mental health issues come out. And there'll be sports people who didn't have any mental health issues but have spent an entire career with all the focus on them, that much attention to detail, all that training, all that practice, and then you take that away and they develop mental health issues. I find that fascinating. That transition, like the rower Steve Redgrave, how after you've won 5 Olympic gold medals, how the hell do you plug that gap? Because he comes across the kind of guy who would struggle to celebrate a win because he'd win and then he wants to win again. And how's he plugged that gap in his life? Because I can't imagine being a BBC commentator is.
I think, yeah, I mean, sports people, I mean, generally speaking, if there's a competition or something and there's a sports person, an actor, a musician, whatever, the sports person, they just got the mental toughness and fortitude and that desire to win that, especially athletes. I mean, my God, you say if you're a football or basketball player and you play week in, week out and stuff, okay. But if you're an athlete and you want to go to the Olympics, you devote 4 years of your life. And what could happen? You could just have a bad day. You turn up to the Olympics, have a bad day or get injured or whatever it might be. You think, I couldn't cope with that. Oh my God, so I've devoted 4 years to this and I've fucked it up or I've got injured. And
who's the guy who snapped his hamstring and his dad helped him over?
Derek Redmond.
Yeah, that was heartbreaking.
I mean, I got four. Of course, Danny Williams, the Commonwealth judo champion. So I've rolled with him a couple of times and stuff. And I remember he broke his arm once, like basically like a flying armbar. Had his arm pinned. And yeah, he was back on the mats before he should have been, and still doing some light rolling with his arm in a cast. And just that, whereas most people are like, right, I'm just not going near the mats now for like a year or something. Just that drive that I just couldn't get my head around. It's another level. And to be honest, you probably find that in business. Those people who maybe they want to do the 18-hour days, they want to win. The 18-hour days over lockdown, you do what you have to do.
No choice, yeah.
I wouldn't want to do it again.
No, but then there's plenty of people, not blowing our own trumpets because we're British and we don't do that, but there's plenty of people...
I'm slightly British. The Indian part of me will have a brag.
There's plenty of people who, when lockdown hit, I remember the first 2 weeks of lockdown. I remember every time the phone rang, it was bad news. There's plenty of people that would quit at that point. You've got to have a fair competitive streak to get your mind through that spell.
Come on then. Why still here in business? What is the one thing that that stops you from saying, right, bugger this for Game of Soldiers. I'm a massively talented graphic designer. I'll go work at an agency. Save myself all this hassle.
Refuse to fail.
Is that
absolute refusal to fail?
Okay.
Just,
Mine is I don't want to get told what to do. That literally is, I think, for me, the number one thing. I mean, because you want to provide for Hannah, I want to provide for Emma and the girls, but obviously we can do that financially by going to work for someone else.
She knows I could provide better by being employed.
But she'd be more miserable because you'd be more miserable.
Yeah.
Oh God, could you imagine having to go back to work for someone else? So there were many things what started me off on my entrepreneurial journey, but almost like the final link in the straw, as I've told you many a time, was my boss telling me off for making a personal phone call during work time. And I think it's because Emma wasn't.
So that same place you had to put your hand up to get to the toilet?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, and the boss who kept touching me.
Sounds right.
Yeah, she was a couple of years too late. Anyway, that's nothing to joke about. But she she just told me off, and it's okay. But it's like, but the reason I was on the phone because Emma wasn't well, and it was like, what the hell am I doing with my life? There's got to be, I've got marketing experience, I've got stuff to share, but this can't be it. If I got hit by a bus tonight, bloody hell, well, my last day on earth was amazing, wasn't it? And that's when it started. And the thought of going back to that, because we know there are businesses around here where, you're not allowed to talk to your colleagues, your trips to the toilet are monitored, not too closely, hopefully, but literally counted how many times you've gone to the toilet. And it's like, oh my God, I just couldn't, I would literally be so miserable and angry and sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Angrier than not seeing the blinds.
So what you're saying
open.
is you're not very subservient.
My mum says I've been like that since
I can believe it.
I was born.
I've met your daughter. She's got the same,
one of them,
same trait. Yeah.
One of them, from birth.
Absolutely.
And the other one,
trait.
yeah, it's. But then so my degree was degrees in English and psychology, and in psychology it was sitting on the fence a bit really, but it's basically it's half biology, it's half where your environment, and that's almost like the cop out. But stubbornness, is that really in your genes, or is it something that because of how your parents are, that's ingrained early on? But then it's like, well, hang on, I've got two daughters, same environment, but one has been like this since birth, and the other one has been like this since birth. So it's genetics and biology has to play a part, and I think that's stubbornness. I think everyone could benefit from a healthy dose of stubbornness if they want to do well in business. And
it's a really weird form of stubbornness, though, isn't it? Because on this podcast, video, whatever this is, you've
I keep forgetting we're being videoed.
You've admitted
Sorry
yourself.
for swearing, Mum.
You've admitted yourself that you had very strong reservations about mindfulness, meditation, all this stuff that you were stubbornly against, but now you're not. But in terms of I know that when we're working on stuff, sometimes if you've got the bit between your teeth about whatever it might be, I mean, at the moment it's about prospect funnels, for example, you pretty much don't want anything else to distract from that. That's what you're going to focus on.
Well, now, so you talk about Steve Redgrave, the other whose name I can always struggle with, Ben Hunt Davis.
Oh, a different one.
His book, Will It Make the Boat Go Faster? So I'm aware of the problems I have, and hopefully I've acknowledged my many failings, but again, by acknowledging them, hopefully do something about it. If I'm going to be stubborn about something, I'm training myself to keep asking that question: will it make the boat go fast? Because if it will, fuck the stubbornness. I'll do what you want. And even if it's Evie, our apprentice, who's telling me to do something, will it make the boat go faster? Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah,
and you do what it takes. But I think without that stubbornness, and to be honest, support of my wife, like you have Hannah's support all the time. Lockdown might have been maybe that would have been the straw that broke the camel's back, but never crossed my mind once.
See, I think because of that stubborn streak, I'd be a horrible employee.
But you were a golden employee, weren't you? In terms of I suppose in terms of the work you put out.
Work was good. I don't think I would have been easy to manage. Because
that's all your toilet breaks?
No, funnily enough. Oh dear. Because I need to know why. And if I think of a better way of doing something, I need to know why I'm not allowed to do that. And even for our own team sometimes, that's just not a possibility. We need to crack on and get on with doing things. But I have the luxury of being the business owner, so
Yeah.
I get to know why.
I mean, we always try and encourage our guys, don't we, to say if a client wants something, to ask themselves three things, right? Is this a good idea? If so, could it be done better? And then does it drive the client towards the goals that they specified?
Yeah.
Not just blindly being a yes boy or a yes girl and say, oh yeah, I'll do that. They've got to ask themselves. And I say the 6 words that will kill any business are, we've always done it this way. So we always tell the team, if we ask you to do something and you have a brainwave and think, actually, I wonder if they ever thought about doing it this other way, bloody hell, bring it to the table. Because I will be so pissed off if I find out a year down the line that you had a great idea that could have helped us and helped themselves at the same time, but they didn't want to bring it to the table. Because, oh no, well, Andy and Joel, they've always done it this way for like years and years. So that must be the best way.
Yeah.
I hope they know that. There's only so many times I can say it. That you must. Great ideas.
What we need to do.
We've worked for employers who wouldn't listen to it. Well, you just said, haven't you? They wouldn't listen to anything an employee had to say.
Yeah.
Wouldn't care.
Do you know what we need to do?
Well, go on.
Next time one of them has a good idea, celebrate that win.
Does that involve money?
Depends if they're motivated by money, I suppose. Might be pizza.
I told them I'd take them to Bombo's.
Well, you pay it.
No, Georgia. I think Georgia can pay first round. I said, and obviously still need to.
Having a work night out.
Yeah, should do.
Nice.
She said Bombers is pretty quiet at the moment. Go out, have a couple of cocktails, and yeah, now we're back. I think we should. Not that I'm drinking much at all, but.
What's your final thought, Jerry? See what I did there? Do you remember that? Jerry Springer. Jerry's final thought.
Was it look after yourselves and each other?
Yeah.
Is that it? God, Jerry Springer. Is he still alive?
Gotta be.
Awesome. Final thought.
Yeah, on celebrating your wins, what's your final thought?
I would say to do what we've just done, and like you asked me, but ask yourself, write down 5 wins, and
Every day?
at least once a week. Why not start off the week every Monday morning? That's what I'm going to do. Write down 5 wins, and if ever you get pissed off because the blinds aren't open or the washing up in the office is piled up, look at those 5 wins and remind yourself of the good work that you're hopefully doing to help people through your products or services.
So are we going to hold each other accountable to that?
Yeah, why not?
I'm up for that.
We'll be in trouble if you haven't got 5 wins.
Is it acceptable to end a podcast on really cool intro music?
Oh, Dirty Harry, play it away.